Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, students. Hope you are doing well. Hope you are understanding the lectures. Kindly let me know if there is any ambiguity or any complication, because we are going to conduct online tests. We will share various activities with you guys the way we share the video links, and I hope that you are following whatever guidelines that we are providing you. So as we did in the previous lectures, we were discussing pronouns and its various types. Today I'm going to bring you two new types with the same SLOs that I have applied so far. Again, it's knowledge regarding the pronouns and its types and its usage with respect to other parts of speech. Now this is the infographic I shared in the earlier lecture with respect to pronouns, and I am sharing it again so that we should know what have we discussed so far and what is left to be discussed. So far we have discussed personal pronouns, possessive pronouns, demonstrative pronouns, indefinite pronouns. What is left is relative, reciprocal, interrogative pronouns, emphatic pronouns, and reflexive pronouns. Today we are going to discuss the emphatic or intensive and reflexive pronouns. Intensive pronouns and emphatic pronouns are the same. Emphatic and intensive are the names of a single type of pronoun, and reflexive pronoun is a separate type. Now the point to remember is that intensive and emphatic intensive or reflexive pronouns are identical or the same. It's their usage that we need to understand, how they are used within a sentence, how they are used within any academic piece. The following are the intensive, emphatic or reflexive pronouns depending on how they are used within a sentence. So myself, yourself, himself, herself, itself are the singular forms, and ourselves, yourselves, themselves are the plural forms. Reflexive pronouns. A reflexive pronoun is a type of a pronoun that is preceded by the antecedent to which it refers. As in the previous cases, we replaced the noun with the pronoun, but in the reflexive case, the reflexive pronoun is preceded by its noun. Like the noun or the pronoun or the subject, whichever is discussed, is present within the same sentence or clause when we use the reflexive pronoun, so long as that the antecedent is located within the same class. The reflexive pronouns are myself. I have already shared the list in the infographic, but just for the sake of understanding, I have mentioned them here again. So myself, yourself, herself, himself, itself are the singular forms. Ourselves, yourselves, and themselves are the plural forms. Again, these words can either be reflexive pronouns or emphatic pronouns. And I told you earlier, emphatic pronouns and intensive pronouns, they are both the same. But we will be discussing emphatic or intensive pronouns later on in the discussion. In English grammar, a reflexive pronoun indicates that the person who is realizing the action of the verb is also the recipient of the action. Now this point will be further understood or clarified by the use of examples, but try to understand this. Reflexive pronoun goes back to the subject, to the antecedent. Whoever is doing it, he or she is affected by it. This might seem strange as at the first glance. The examples of reflexive pronouns and the accompanying list of reflexive pronouns will help you gain through understanding. In fact, you will probably notice that you yourself use reflexive pronouns frequently when speaking or writing. Now I want you to remember this last sentence. In fact you will probably notice that you yourself use reflexive pronouns frequently when speaking or writing. My question is that yourself here is emphatic pronoun or reflexive pronoun. I am repeating the question. In the last sentence of this slide, I have used yourself with you. Now my question will be from you guys after listening to the video is that this yourself, either it is an emphatic pronoun or a reflexive pronoun. Keep this question in mind because I will be asking this question from you later on. Now these are the examples. Remember the first point in the previous slide that the recipient is the antecedent is mentioned within the same class, and it is directly affected by the use of the reflexive pronoun. I was in a hurry, so I washed the car myself. I washed the car myself. Myself and I are related because I washed the car myself. In this sentence, I is basically again it's a pronoun, and in the reflexive pronoun definition and emphatic pronoun definition it is quite clear that either it replaces it consolidates the noun or the pronoun or any other subject. So myself is directly related to I. You are going to have to drive yourself to school today. He wanted to impress her, so he baked a cake himself. Jennifer does chores herself because she doesn't trust others to do them right. That car is in a class all by itself. We don't have to go out, we can fix dinner ourselves. You are too young to go out by yourselves. The actors saved the local theatre money by making costumes themselves. Remember, the subject pronouns for each of reflexive pronouns are mentioned in this infographic. The subject pronoun I has the reflexive pronoun myself. The subject pronoun you has the reflexive pronoun yourself. He is followed by himself, she by herself, it by itself, we by ourselves, you by yourselves, and they by themselves. In this infographic, I have tried to clarify the point that I mentioned earlier, that in case of first person, what is the singular form, what is the plural form. In case of second person, what is the singular form, what is the plural form. And in case of third person, what is the singular form and the plural form. My question again in this slide, what do we mean by first person, second person and third person? We already have discussed personal pronouns, so anyone who can give me an answer, I would love it if you mention it in the comment section or share it in the group so that I should know that you are watching and following the lectures. Now we are going to shift our attention from reflexive to emphatic or intensive and intensive pronouns. So an emphatic or intensive pronoun is almost identical to a reflexive pronoun. It is defined as a pronoun that ends in self or selves and places emphasis on its antecedent by referring back to another noun or pronoun used earlier in the sentence. For this reason, intensive pronouns are sometimes called emphatic pronouns. So keep this in mind, the emphasis part, because this is the key difference between the reflexive pronoun and emphatic pronoun. Emphatic pronoun serves the purpose of emphasis. It stresses the point. It may consolidate a point. It may give additional information of something. But the difference between reflexive and emphatic is this one, the emphasis. Why the emphasis? We are going to discuss in the later slides. Now, here how we test, here how we remember, here how we come to know as an English learner that how can we identify what is the difference between a reflexive pronoun or an intensive or emphatic pronoun. So what we are going to do, you can test a word to see whether it's an intensive pronoun by removing it. By removing it here means the reflexive, the self form that we are using within the sentence. The self form we are using within a sentence. And checking to see if the sentence has the same impact. And check to see if the sentence had the same impact. So this will decide, the impact will decide. In some cases it is quite clear. In some cases it is quite clear. In certain cases there is an ambiguity. But the clear distinction is that when you remove an intensive pronoun from a sentence, the sentence will not change. The impact will not change. Just the emphasis will be out. But when you remove the reflexive pronoun from within a sentence, then the sentence will do change. Common intensive pronouns. So these are the same as we mentioned earlier. Intensive pronouns might not be necessary. Might not be. Keep this in mind. Might not be. Not in all cases. Not in all cases. But in majority cases, intensive pronouns may not be needed in the sentence. But they serve the important factor or function of making your writing more interesting as well as more meaningful, particularly in formal structures, situations. Use them sparingly to ensure that the emphasis they provide isn't lost. Now these are the examples. Jesse wondered aloud whether he himself was the only one seeing what was happening. Maria knew that she herself could make a positive impact on the world if only she puts her mind to it. You yourself can easily transform your body. All it takes is a proper diet and plenty of exercise. The team knew that they themselves were responsible for playing their best. Now, if you remove the self from himself, herself, yourself, themselves, respectively from each of these sentences, you will find out that these self forms were not necessarily needed. The sentence gives the complete meaning. The sense is complete. For example, look at the first sentence. Jesse wondered aloud whether he was the only one seeing what was happening. So the sentence is complete. There is nothing missing from it except the emphasis. Except the emphasis. But let me quote some other examples to you. Compare these two sentences that I am going to narrate to you. I am tired of myself. I am tired of myself. I myself will clean this room. I myself will clean this room. Now in the first example, I am tired of myself. If I remove the myself, the sentence becomes I am tired of. Tired of what? Sense is missing. I need something to complete this sentence. Myself was there earlier. So myself completes the sentence. Here it shows that this myself was necessary for completing this sentence. So this is reflexive myself. In the second sentence, I myself will clean the room. If I remove the myself part, I will clean the room. The sentence is complete. Just the emphasis or the additional information is gone. So in this case, the myself form is emphatic or intensive. Thank you for listening. I hope you have understood the concept of reflexive and emphatic pronoun, and the confusion has been removed while I was narrating the last examples of I am tired of myself and I will clean the room myself, or I myself will clean the room. So hope you understood what is the difference between reflexive and emphatic pronouns. If you have any questions, you can ask. Within the video lecture, I asked 2 questions from you guys. I hope you remember them. I hope you answer them in the comment section. The first one was related to the yourself part, and the second one was related to person. What is first person, second person, and third person? What is its relationship with pronouns? So thank you very much, and we will be doing an activity today, inshallah. Allah Hafiz.